If you've played Arkham Knight before, then there's no doubt in my mind that you've been hit with the famous manbat jump scare at least once in your life. Even if you haven't played Arkham Knight, you probably still know about this jump scare because there's plenty of reaction videos on the internet of people doing it for the first time and damn near shitting themselves. But is it possible to actually beat Arkham Knight story mode without encountering manbat at all? Well, that's what we're going to be figuring out today, and I got the idea of this video from Captain Bruh in the comments of one of my recent videos, so shout out to him. Now, the manbat jump scare isn't as random as people seem to think it is. It will always happen after Riddler delivers the message to you to come save Catwoman. It will always be one of the first buildings that you grapple up to after this message, and I even show it a few times just to prove that. There's two things I need to go over real quick before starting this challenge. One is my form of transportation and how I'll be avoiding manbat, and two is what we're going to be calling safe zones during this challenge. So the main way I'll be getting around the map is with the Batmobile, and I can already hear it now. But Big Nut, the Batmobile is so overused and I can fuck you. But when we do inevitably have to grapple, any sort of gargoyle, train rail, or crane line will do just fine. You can avoid manbat with all of these. And all safe zones are just any mission that takes place underground or in a building because there's no chance of triggering the manbat jump scare from in there, so we're just gonna jump over these sections entirely. But now that we're done with our insanely long intro and 2-second rant about the Batmobile, let's get into the video. So like I said before, the manbat jump scare can't even be triggered until Riddler has sent you the message to come save Catwoman, so that's where we're going to be starting from, and we're going to be heading down to the orphanage to initiate this. Initiate this? Who the fuck am I, Cyborg? Initiating stream. And now that we've entered the orphanage, we can no longer trigger the manbat jump scare, so we'll just skip past this section. And once we exited the orphanage, I was too scared to grapple on top of this Riddler challenge, so I just ran over to the pillar to get us started. At this point in the game, the Batmobile is still stuck on the other side of the bridge, so we actually have to grapple all the way over to it, and if you hate the Batmobile, you probably love this section of the game. Once we reach the Batmobile though, all we have to do is wait for Alfred to lower the bridge and then drive over and investigate Oracle's crash. After that, we have to make a trip to Wayne Tower, and this is honestly where I thought my first hiccup was going to come in, but we just hit a gargoyle and got to the top. Now we get to jump from the highest point in the game and just glide all the way to our next mission, which is another safe zone inside the Miyagani tunnel system, so we'll just skip past this section too. Once we're out of the tunnels, all we have to do is chase down this car and then interrogate the driver. After taking out a few Cobra tanks, now we just have to go meet up with Nightwing and then track Penguin's supply. So this part actually started to worry me at first because I couldn't find anything to grapple up to, so I just kind of resorted to following them on my feet and hiding, but eventually I was able to find some things to grapple up to and we were able to follow them back to their hideout. Now we just have to clear the area before heading down into Penguin's hideout, which is just another safe zone technically, so we're going to skip past this. Moving on, now we have to infiltrate Stag's airships, but before we do that, we have to take out the turrets and then get to the top of Wayne Plaza. And getting to the top of Wayne Plaza was actually way trickier than I thought it would be. I was basically gliding around for 10 minutes before I decided just to hit the airship and then glide over to it. But now that we have the remote hacking device in our hands, we can enter Stag's airship, which is just another safe zone, so let's go ahead and skip past this part. I almost feel obligated to show this scene of Batman dodging 2 rockets from the Arkham Knight. I mean, look at this dude, he's unstoppable! Moving on though, now it's time to glide across the city and well, watch Oracle unalive herself. I think I'm just gonna skip this part. Next up, all we gotta do is help out Ivy by taking out some Cobra tanks and finding her plant that's buried deep in the city. After hacking the Arkham Knight's drone, destroying both relay networks, and another Cobra tank battle, we have our next encounter with the man himself. Do it harder. Fucking excuse me? Now we're going to be heading over to Watchtower in search of the Cloudburst, but before we can do that, we find out that Panessa Studios has been overrun by Harley and her goons. After taking a leap of faith, gliding our way over there and taking out all the goons in front of the building, we head inside of Panessa Studios, which is one of the longest safe zones in this entire playthrough, so I'm about to skip a whole lot. Hey, how did that get in there? Next up, we put Tim Drake into timeout for being bald in this universe, and then we drive over to the Botanical Gardens to help Ivy out with another Cobra tank battle. You know what? I'm starting to remember why everyone hates the Batmobile. So after taking out 25 of the Arkham Knight's forces, now we have to take on 5 more Cobra tank. Oh, thank God the Cloudburst exploded. Now we don't have to worry about the Batmobile. So next up on the list, we're going to glide over to Stag's airships, which as you know from before is just another safe zone, so let's go ahead and skip this. After leaving Stag's airship, we dive headfirst into the Cloudburst so we can change the power cell on the Batmobile, which then leads into another tank battle, and oh my God, somebody help me. So 30 minutes later and 300 tanks destroyed, we can go watch Ivy sacrifice herself to get rid of the Cloudburst. Now we get to head down to GCPD and talk to Sergeant McAllister, who's got to be one of the dumbest officers in this entire game, and let me break it down for you why.
It's Jim. I need you to send through some blueprints. I found Crane, and that bastard's going to die for what he did to my little girl.
Was that the commissioner?
What do you mean was that the commissioner? His damn name was on the screen, and plus he started the call by saying it's Jim.
It's Jim.
Like, I realize this is Gotham City and you're probably getting paid a minimum wage, Mr. McAllister, but do better. I mean, you're talking to the goddamn Batman. Now that we have Sergeant McAllister's badge in our bat trunk, we can head out to save Commissioner Gordon, which does lead us to another safe zone, so I'll see you in about 30 minutes.
Yes! Do it! Oh no, Lucius!
So after fighting about 25 more Cobra tanks, we put Barbara in the back seat and then we drop her off at the GCPD before heading over to the watchtower to secure the area, you know, take out some goons, and then we gotta hack a computer or something. Look, the Batmobile has fried my brain towards the end of this. You're just gonna have to start rolling with me here. Next up on the to-do list is to stop the assault at GCPD, and if they thought they were getting a fair fight, they were wrong. It was only once I started restoring the power to GCPD that I noticed it. My biggest fear to ever come true. Nope, your eyes didn't deceive you. Next up, we have to fight 60 tanks in the Batmobile, but at least we get help from Barbara, right? Wrong! She does bare minimum. Yeah, she'll hack a tank every now and then or give you one to explode. Whoop-de-doo! A real help during this fight would have been to not have the fight in the game at all. Do you know how much of a pleasure that would have been? Ugh! I'm sorry, but just the thought of living in a universe where there's no 60 tank battle at the end of Arkham Knight just love the thought of it. Now that we're past all that nonsense, next up for us is to get to the top of the police department and stop all the thugs from breaking in. After that, we just gotta glide over to Panessa Studios to do some investigating, and then we drive over to Scarecrow's hideout to give ourselves up. Now, if you can't tell or just haven't noticed already, this is the end of Arkham Knight's main story, which means we did it and you can in fact beat the game without encountering Manbat one time. Now, this does only apply to Arkham Knight's main story because that's all I intended on doing at first, but if people enjoy this enough and they want to see more, I'll come back and do as many side missions as I can. For all we know, you could beat the entire game without ever encountering Manbat. And here's my most wanted progress on screen in case anybody wants to question the legitimacy of this. As you can see, the Manbat side mission isn't even activated yet. Anyways though, thanks for watching if you've gotten this far, and if you want to see the side missions video, just leave a like and comment down below and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. Keep it poppin', pussies.